Unintentional villain songs. Who doesn't love a good villain song? Whether it's an inspiring Be Prepared or a terrifying Hellfire. It could be simple characterization, critical character development, or even the main confrontation with the villain. Nothing can beat a good villainous song. However, some of the most interesting villain songs are the unintentional ones. The ones where the author didn't think about what they were saying with their characters. I find it so appropriate. After all, most people, even objectively evil ones, don't think of themselves as the villain. First, Out Tonight from Rent. While several songs could actually fit this bill, including the title song, where the protagonists actively steal from their friend and landlord and complain that he is so heartless to let them live free for years in his building, yet now wants them to actually pay rent. Then you have La Vie Boheme, where the cast trashes a restaurant to make a point to the third party over the objections of the owner. And even On the Street, which should have been Mark's wake-up call that he isn't the hero of this story. However, Out Tonight is by far the worst. In it, Mimi is singing about how she wants to go out tonight. There's very little subtlety. She doesn't want Roger to take her dancing. She wants to have sex and do drugs. She even takes out her stash of heroin in the last chorus as she climbing up the fire escape to her cute neighbor's apartment. There's just one eensy-weensy problem. Mimi is HIV positive, and she doesn't know that Roger is, and she hasn't told him either. As far as she is aware, her drug-filled seduction would be a death sentence for said cute neighbor. This has been a misdemeanor in New York since 2014. However, even as far back as 1994, 2 years before Rent premiered, Timothy Hinkhouse had been convicted of 10 counts of attempted murder for deliberately infecting women with HIV. Mimi is clearly and unambiguously attempting to murder Roger. However, even more weirdly, the phrasing, the music, and the film versions, the camera, are all in agreement with Mimi. Why? Because, despite the title of this video, Mimi is not the villain. She's the victim. The most important part in the follow-up song, Another Day, Mimi quotes the support group's No Day But Today, a song of known hopelessness and impending doom while rejecting despair, making the most of the little time you have left. However, while Angel wants to find love and have as happy a life as possible, Mimi has abandoned all hope and is living the most hedonistic life she can, just to get as much pleasure from her brief period that she has left. This 19-year-old girl knows she is dying, and it's her fear and despair that is singing. It's an odd realization. Someone doing something objectively horrific, and yet it's understandable. It's making you empathetic with such a heinous act. This brings me to my second example. Please don't kill me, baby sister. Let It Go. First, history lesson. The original drafts of Frozen had the Snow Queen as the villain to our hero, Anna, similar to the original novel. Let It Go was composed and written as the Snow Queen's villain song. Of course, then, it was so inspirational that they rewrote the movie around it. However, in the final movie, Let It Go is still a complete and utter lie. Elsa isn't becoming free. She is imprisoning herself. Look at her castle. The ice palace is glorious and beautiful, but it's empty. All ice, all snow, no food, no way to get food, no furniture, nothing to do. It's not sustainable even in the short term. If Anna hadn't arrived, Elsa would have been back down the mountain by sundown just trying to find some dinner. In the words of Frollo, she made herself a magnificent prison, but a prison nonetheless. Worse, Elsa is trying to reject not only society and restrictions, but her very humanity. Verse 2 is the most explicit, as she explicitly says she's no longer bound by morality and states how she's more related to the wind than her own people. And did Elsa conquer her fear? The whole point of this exercise? Not in the least. At the very first word of confrontation, her fear and worry come to the surface. She actively runs from her sister and caused a blizzard during the First Time Forever reprise. It's a full-blown panic attack as she realizes her little bit of freedom hadn't isolated herself at all, but caused a catastrophe. Let It Go is another song of fear. She's proudly declaring how she can weather any storm, while hiding from the one storm that really matters. She's entombing herself within her prison because she's scared of everyone, especially herself. Again, the camera and visuals agree complete with the character's perspective. It's only when you think about what's actually being said that you realize the true nature of the song. Fear. Palpable fear. The true villain of Frozen. It's another case of the villain being the emotion. And unlike Rent, I can say for certain this was the intended theme of Let It Go and the movie as a whole. Therefore, I declare that Let It Go is the best Disney villain song. It's so inspiring and emotional that it convinced billions that it was a song of freedom and liberation from fear, when it is clearly and explicitly a song of being terrified of yourself and running from your problems. That's what makes it such a great villain song. After all, no villain thinks of themselves as such. Thanks for listening, y'all.